All right, we are back with the amazing Aidan Shaffer, my good friend, and, well, Teslatech local to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and lifelong experiencer. When you had some more up close encounters, I guess, and recordings that you were able to take of them. So let's start off with that, my friends.
Yeah, it was today's what, the 7th, the 6th, going into the 7th. So it was like about a week ago on the 1st. Just was going out for an evening stroll, and I happened to look to the west in my front yard, and there was just got the zing, the tingle, the knowledge. I was like, oh, that one there, that's not a planet or anything. And then it was just a solitary vehicle. The event lasted for about 15 minutes. But then over those 15 minutes, it kept pulling in other vehicles to it. My friend Carol, she filmed for a while. We have
a lot of footage.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it was solidly for 15 minutes, and we filmed like maybe 2 minutes of it. And this is towards the end. And this is actually, it's through a reticle, but you can see the blinking light to the left.
Yeah.
The one in the middle is the one that was stationary that was red.
All sorts of colors, yeah.
You're going to see more. You get some optical aberration through the atmosphere. You get twinkling off of it, but to the naked eye, it appears red. You know, you get some.
I see what you're saying. Get what you're saying. Yeah. So through the
camera artifacts, it's kind of like bokeh, but not. So this overall to the naked eye was red when you're looking at it. And it was I had a dream. I guess I want to unpack this. So this was like last Monday, I guess, the 1st. Was it Tuesday night, Monday night? That weekend before, I had like a premonitional dream where the imagery of it was first there was a strong section where I was in contact with NHI because of the lucidity within the dream was to like the 9s and 10s. Like, I don't know, you're a crypto alchemist, so like maybe like a lucid dream on acid, but I'm not.
I get what you're saying. It's like it's so lucid, it's so real that it's most likely
mechanical,
the actual like experience. And like when people have abductions, a lot of time it's through that astral feeling experience sort of thing.
I was in an X space with over on Twitter. There was a couple ladies that are experiencers. Like, that's the cool thing that's happening in the ufology group. Of, you know, some people you vibe in on other experiencers, but there's a minor debate. Are the abductions astral or physical? Right. So, I mean, this dream was definitely, I'm trying to remember. It was like a tantric deity. There's this like kind of tetrahedral object, right? I'm trying to create like a dipole. And when I'm in person, I'm a hands talker. So I can't, you know, there's this, and then there was a third one coming through it. So it was kind of like a bent, inverted tetrahedral. And then there's 3D printing. And then when I was looking at the wisdom deity, it had like a jaw, and then another jaw, and then another jaw, a jawbone. like this 3 levels of
So multiple jawbones you saw.
yeah, but like a layering on top of a layering, like how my hands are. So, and then the
Yeah, I
person,
get what you said. That's fascinating in regards to like a lot of the tales or stories of the giants and giant bones with 2 rows, right? Of
quite possibly, yeah.
right,
Yeah.
so extra otherly hominid species, whether it's off-world or whatever, right? That there's this reoccurring theme, and that you'd experience that astrally too, that in lucid dream.
Yeah, the details and the quality of it, the sobriety of the dream would tell me that there was like technology behind the underlying the clarity of it. That's something that I've over the last year has kind of been through all the close contacts with the monitoring systems. Is like there's a clarity, a preciseness to it when there's some of the psionic technology involved with the dream communication. But it's always it foreleads the physical event. So this was, back to the
Right. So just
narrative.
to let the viewers know, if they didn't catch our first interview, which everyone should go watch, and I got to spend 2 weeks with Aidan and Carol in New Mexico this past August, but that you had told your original story from uh, when you had the premonition when leaving the East Coast, going back to New Mexico, and that you were told that you would experience like this mothership, and that you went, you followed it, you did it, and sure enough, it happened, right? That this is ongoing,
Yeah,
reoccurring processes.
that's close. Yeah, it was like,
I
make it out
correct?
to Vegas within a week, and then go out to the Buddhist retreat center. They told me like I had a week to get over to Albuquerque to see a probe ship for uplink, and it's March 2024. Years go by. Part of my consciousness is on a ship, I think. I've experienced different field gradients, so trying to remember things is anyway. Creatine monohydrate helps a lot with smoking too much cannabis. And I've been Carol's been helping me get on a good scientific diet. So I've been like, losing weight and just doing some boring stuff around the house. But anyway, the field
Oh, that's
gradient
good.
causes missing time, causes some, I don't know how to put it. It's a different field gradients. It's the reason the androids give cover memories. So when you're on ship time, your clock is running at a different rate than when you're on planet time.
I
Uh,
get what you're saying, right? So like for out of body lucid experiences, but then also abduction or space or anything, it's the time is not this linear overall structure in the greater universe, right? That there's multiple planes, sort of thing.
you just got to keep in mind there's torsion to the field. You're on a spinning object that's spinning around another spinning object. There's this spinning torsion. And then if you get into all the physics from like APEC or general relativity, they talk about the nuclear clocks and that the clocks run at different rates. Well, what's really going on is that at the nuclear level, you have these electrons, and it's the rubidium and cesium atoms. There's a specific isotope, and then they know the transition time between the valence band and its lower next one, and this turns into a distance. And that measurement of distance, the stronger the field gradient, the harder the smaller that distance becomes. And we're measuring time with a band gap. There's still like a lambda, like here to back. Measure the distance divided by 2, and that gives you your time. sort of stuff. But anyway, general relative, it's if you can see a three-dimensional object and imagine a cloud all the way around it that's on a gradient, and the further you get out, a bell curve kind of does it justice. But the field gradient within a ship is a different band gap versus the planetary band gap, and your neurons, the biophotonics and your electric system in here is running on this versus this in band gap terms. I don't know if that need to get a whiteboard for some of this stuff, but anyway, ship time is not the same as planet time, and sometimes it's like you're rushing through things. I don't know. I'm kind of in lost narrative mode. So yeah, this event was last October 1st for like 15-20 minutes. It must have been much closer to Albuquerque, maybe over Double Eagle Airport. I wish other people would come out, and I put it out on Twitter and it hasn't done much. Have a friend over.
Probably because it's real, right? They always suppress the real ones and promote the fake ones. And just also for those joining, if I didn't catch before, and I also I hold off on discussing my personal experiences, which were next level, while with you, and like actual like you pointed out a couple of these craft. These one was like a drone platform, other was like probe ships, these plasma orbs, and the platform, while I was with you throughout the 2 weeks, right, there was a couple different instances. Well, one over Albuquerque from Teslatech, and then one when I think when we were driving back at night from Roswell, right before we were getting back into Albuquerque there. And
no, you're getting your Navajo trip when we went. Yeah, when we were.
Oh, that was my CE5 was through Navajo Nation while you're driving. But I'm referring, there was, I believe you said it was like a gray probe ship or something, but I'm like, no, that's on the mountain, like that's a light on top. You're like, no, and I was like, and then sure enough, son of a bee, like it went behind the mountain, and then as we drove past the mountain there, it was still in the same spot in the sky, right? And so it's like I've experienced these UFOs that you're recording with you firsthand while I was there.
They're watching the potentials for nuclear warfare, and we got to be careful around talking about it. But I worked on the Robert Hastings movie, the UFO versus nukes and UFOs documentary by Hastings. Jared Tarbell, who was he was one of the founders of Etsy, was an executive producer and coughed up like $100,000 to help Hastings get that documentary made. So there is there's documented evidence of something monitoring the nuclear industry within globally. It's not just here in the United States. So
right, a long history, both the Soviets, the Americans, also over in the UK a bit when they were messing around with Randallson Force, and that it's been ongoing since like the first atomic blast recorded with the hydrogen bombs. Lots of rumors and legends saying that the UFOs actually had to show up with one of the hydrogen bomb tests to stop what was a chain reaction that had started potentially. And like,
is this Russian, or that's a new one for me?
I believe it was the Tsar bomb off in the Arctic Russia that was recorded with, and that also through like Montana, Idaho, where the U.S. UFO or nuclear arsenal has been, that there's been reports of them interfering there, like throughout the decades, like since the 50s, ongoing even like recently, and that Albuquerque, New Mexico, where you're based, is another major hub, or the hub for the military's operations and manufacture of the nuclear triad
Right. Yeah.
deterrent, right? So it's another hotspot and reason why these UFOs continuously are there.
Yeah, I mean, Sandia Lab's primary mission is to maintain the nuclear arsenal, and there's if you get into the science of it, like tritium has a half-life of 12.3 years, so in certain assemblies they have to disassemble them and redo the tritium. There's other things, so I don't know. A lot of this is Wikipedia. There are, but tiptoe gently through the border patrol. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, this is just an event. Like I'm trying to. I mean, I'm trying to weave my dream world into the waking world, and like the phenomenon talks to experiencers through dreams. Sometimes you think you're on board a spaceship, but you never leave your bed. Other times you are taken out of your bed and you think you're just having a dream. It's this very funny. Does life imitate art? So anyway,
No, it's part of the multiple dimensional reality of our
mhm.
existence, right? And it connects into the higher spiritual conscious realm, but it's like it's just the multiverse of existence, and that the Western society has imposed this psychosis of trying to convince experiencers and the population that your intuition isn't real, your higher self isn't real, other
Oh, I
entities aren't
know.
real, and
I think it's more of the federal. It's the Federal Reserve Bank and paying bills and the daily grinding down of reality is like what tells you. But yeah, like tonight I had to make sure I was watching airplanes. After a while, you go kind of crazy. You're like, I see something glowing in the sky. No, it's like, no, that's just an airplane. Like, I mean, and then,
absolutely right. It's got to everything has to hold up to scrutiny, and you have to make
mm-hmm,
sure from your own experiences that you like once you experience you start to get a bias, but then you have to be stay grounded in
right,
reality, right? And it's like
right.
we all have that, and uh it's that there's both in this reality. And
Well, I mean, I've tried to, like, some of your apps can be useful, the flight radar or the ADBS, ADS-B, sorry, but so tracking the military on it, or I mean, that would be an interesting thing to go off. There are ways of getting onto some of the flight tracking software and getting the military transponders. But early on down here in Albuquerque, I learned to like you check the flight radar, then you check the what is it, like Solar Walk is one of the apps, but some of these stargazing apps, like, is that Venus? Check it off. Like you check for Venus and Jupiter at night, make sure they're not
yep.
there, and then you look for during the day. You look for commercial versus whatnot. So, but yeah, this one was just sitting there for 15 minutes. We didn't.
Right, and
It
it's a
pulls
pulsing
in
orb.
objects.
It's a
Hmm.
sphere, and it
This
said
is a
it's a
command ship. Yeah, no, it was holding steady. There's other. I don't know if you go back and look at. Let me see which one. The one that's 1 minute and 15 seconds long. That was towards the evening, towards the end of it. And you have to do a zoom in on it. Let me see if I have that. It was doing some weird stuff at the end. It was making a large flux tube. Here, I'll send you the next one on. I had to do it via just scroll pinching, on your phone. The original footage is much crisper, so I hope
yeah.
data compression doesn't degrade some of this. I know it does, like on Twitter. 720 DPS or whatever. But it was towards the end of it, it was just made this like long tube. And I think it's doing it. I can tell it's the longer one, but
Right.
And I
So
just
gives like a cigar shaped more style tube, and that you're saying the mothership, and that's like
I
consistent with
guess.
what's seen over and over again.
Yeah, I mean the cigar shapes are not they're interplanetary. There are the further you go into trying to catalog the more shapes you come up with. Triangles are not cigars, or like there's jellyfish ones that I've only seen on YouTube. I've never seen one, and it's like it'll be a large blob with a bunch of danglies underneath it. Jellyfish, tetrahedrons this summer, cylinders that wobble. That's a personal viewing, but during July 4th, there were a pair of cylinders with blackout lights, and I had another premonitional dream, and then the internal transponder, my inner sense, my spidey sense. Let's call it that for now. Psionics, NHI psionics.
That's real. It's well,
Yeah,
also gut feeling, intuition. It's just the higher self or outside information from others, right?
telepathy is technology. Technology is leading to telepathy commercially. It's so they're just these guys are the ones that are monitoring us and letting certain things happen and not. They play God with us. I mean, I'm sorry. I was hanging out with the Twitter folk earlier today, and some of these women they're talking about ways of like don't go car camping. they like it when you go car camping, and then they can through the little androids can open the doors, or they can just sort of wake
Right,
you up and
most
make you.
alone and vulnerable sort of thing. And do they
Yeah.
uh, do Cytronic attack to then psionic control?
Yeah. I mean, once you have an implant and they know the carrier wave, it's was it ultrasound? It's like tinnitus. They just know how to wake you up. If they're there was another experiencer that was saying that they'll give you a premonitional like, hey, we're walking up on you, and you're like you feel them coming, but you're like, I'm not going to do anything. Feels really they know how to play with the different levels of consciousness, waking, semi-waking, the monitoring system, the little. I mean, they are alive, but they are mechanical, and it always is better to be polite with them. But anyway,
Well, and that's just
nonetheless.
like a rule of the universe to be when
Hmm.
diplomatic, like, but always don't give your own like conscience sovereignty away, what sort of thing. Like you don't surrender, but you don't be aggressive in your interactions, like with them mentally, right? I guess.
Yeah, the women on my support group, they're talking about ways of waking up on the ship and trying to. This one girl, Amy, hiking was it Abduction Journal. Amy at Abduction Journal, I think is her abductee journal, something like that. God, I'm foggy on that one right now. I'm sorry, but if you try to resist, some of the older women are starting to resist to because they're coming in and it gets into implantation and creating components, biological components for the next generation of androids, which is really kind of
Right,
can be
like if
delicate.
it's not consensual, right, you have a right to resist. As a
Hmm.
basic human law, right?
We think, but like, I mean, I'm raising chickens and I'm learning to be really gentle and nice and hand raise the chickens. And, they I pick them up and, they can be, I'm not trying, you work with life in order to calm your heart and learn to feel things. So, but sometimes I get complaints when I pick up a chicken, or they don't always want to be picked up and they run around, right?
Yeah,
So,
that's a very good point. Very good point. That potentially are we the bald monkey chickens of the off-world beings or interdimensional, whatever.
Well, I mean, they're up there. We're down here. They can look down. They have the overview effect. That's one of the things. The overview effect. I don't know if you've ever heard of that term or.
I have, but do go into it because this is very important.
Well, it's why people want to go up to the space station, or why Bezos and Virgin Galactic are able to sell a ticket for like, I don't know what, 100,000, quarter million for their space planes. The overview effect is when you're up there. William Shatner talked about it perfectly. He's like, within 90 seconds, like you spend your entire life looking at the atmosphere and seeing that there's this big blue blanket over you. And then within like less than 90 seconds, when you go up, you're like, oh, it's not blue anymore, and you're looking down and there are no borders, and you look at Earth and you're like, oh, and you can look down into the world and you see it naked as it is without our social media, or it's called in general they call it the overview effect. So same thing with these beings that have been here for a while. I mean, they have underwater bases, or there's technology behind all of this. There's biological computing, but anyway, when they're up there in the vehicle and looking down, it's the overview effect, and the eye on the top of the pyramid.
Right? Like that they have the high ground and they have the higher perspective, and they also have the higher dimensional reality or existence too. That's it is essentially a demigod's why probably I suspect why the ancients referred to their interactions as demigods, were these off-world and trans-dimensional beings and archetypes that are still here today.
Yeah, I miss my younger days and my teenage years when I would study all of the theology and had role-playing game books on that had all of the gods in them and whatnot. So I mean, they've over the years, I'm nearly 50. Have spent time at churches and ashrams and building a temple and a monastery and stuff. And it's like I've come to understand religion is, it's a thought form. If you become highly indoctrinated in any religion, it's just the same as becoming a PhD in some scientific branch. Your entire world gets filtered by that intense concentration on that certain knowledge, be it from religion to physics and mathematics, right? I mean, if you understand Newton, he was creating calculus in order to find God. If you
right?
study Sir Isaac Newton. So
I highly recommend his recently released both a theological and like what were they calling it? It was I forget the exact term, maybe religious, and then also his alchemy. There was two departments that of his writings and studies that were classified and that finally released to the public about 15 years ago now through an auction, and then translated. But I guess theological or theological.
Theological.
Right. It went into like numerology, it went into astrology, it went into theology, and it went into prophecy in that segment of Newton's works. And then it was his alchemy writings that I started deciphering and reading through, that was my own breakthrough in reproducing his 7 colored states of transmutational metals, and where I learned the monatomic process from.
Right, drink the purple juice.
Oh, I have been drinking the royal purple as of late, and hold on. Yeah,
who are these people? You got like Crypto Builders Keep, Dead Fish.
Yeah, that's Chris, great guy.
Cheese Red. Who's this Dead Fish Cheese?
Yeah, great guy as well, and he's UFO experiencer that was it a? I don't think it was the TR3B that he saw. Whatever he saw, it was energized. He clearly saw a giant quartz crystal that was at the center, I believe, if I'm correct. If you want to post your story, dead fish. Not sure, great, Dusty. Lots of good people in the live chat.
Yeah, I'm not trying to ignore them. I'm just I've tried to join the chat, and then we had like a Rhonda Butterfly. I wonder if that's my friend Rhonda, but I know she's asleep in Chicago.
Yeah, no, this Rhonda is from the Gold Coast of Australia. Welcome, Rhonda Butterfly.
Welcome from down under, our sister from very far away.
So here we go. Got some
Winter's
of that
nearly over.
A little bit stirred up, and I take a little sip after stirring it, so there is monotonous. Don't try this at home, people. You'll see just a tiny little sip, just a tiny little. Because also it's made out of pure 24 karat gold, and I'm not. Oh, this one, no, North Carolina. My bad. My apologies, Rhonda. Well, you're up late, and thank you for joining in from North Carolina.
Oh, well, hopefully you don't have beachfront property. That seems to be going further inland. I don't know.
Right, so I might just start selling some of the purple royal gold, but it's going to be more expensive than gold. So, oh, here we go. We got Tranquil Vortex coming in from the Gold Coast, though, in Australia. Welcome, Nana. Good to see you.
Big chunks of quartz arranged in a disc shape. The biggest chunk were in the center, and they got smaller on the outside. Okay.
As the propulsion
had to be. Radial crystalline structures, I believe so, but everything I've studied is on like magnesium, and it's difficult. I was going through Jared's. He gave me his arts parts analysis, and he's like 1, 2, and 3. He actually, I guess they threw enough money at it that they got a piece of
work on that. Definitely.
I guess Mark went balls to the wall, and they were doing SEM, right? Scanning electron microscopy.
Yes.
They had an SEM, and they're going through it. There was the quasi-crystallines. They were seeing these frozen crystalline patterns within the bismuth. So
really,
it's crashed material. Yeah, I don't have his thing. I guess maybe freaking. How can I do that?
Share screen if you can open it in a window.
Maybe.
Hey, Traveling Fools. Good to see you. Welcome.
Let's see.
Beyond Traveling Fools this Friday.
Audience on the show. Present. I'm sorry, I'm a newbie. Give me a second.
Yeah. So be present at the bottom, or share screen, and then the window that's
slides and PDFs. Let's see, Google Slides.
No. The bottom option is share screen first, and then a tab should pop up, and then have a few other tabs of options.
Open system. Google Chrome, Jesus Christ. Yep. Let's see. Yes. Click permission. Use password. How about this?
Right. Million permissions.
I have to quit and reopen. No, I can't right now. I don't want to break the yard.
Fair enough.
Where is the other way to do it? I guess I have a link to you. Dink.
Yeah, if you post a link in the private chat, I can open it as well.
It was a command ship. I've been kind of an asshole, but the thing is, let's bounce it off of your See if this works
Yeah,
for
the
you.
link for the MUFON.
Yeah, it's on your.
No,
check it
sorry, I
out.
was saying dead fish. There we go. Got that.
It's.
Uh-oh. Did I just crash
Gonna,
myself?
hope not. It's all open source stuff, but they got a report from Arrow. It looks like the piece of metal bounced through Arrow, and then they were nice and sent Mark a chunk of it. Arrow?
Really?
Yeah.
I had heard it came from Lyndon Moulton Howe's pieces that were the
Right.
original art's parts from Art Bell. But so it
Yeah.
went to Arrow first, and then they got it directly from Arrow. So Apex somehow got the sample directly from Arrow.
Yeah, and then Arrow did a real complex analysis. Reading through it, there's now so Art's parts is the primary components are bismuth, magnesium, and zinc. And it's I don't know if this is
And bismuth in it, I thought too, right?
yeah, but it's now through Arrow they're saying there's like lead. The bismuth was transmuting into lead, which I don't understand that. That's a nuclear transition. Like you add enough protons or subtract, it's all how we currently think about transmutation is adding and subtracting protons via collision, although you can shoot neutrons into materials as well. But we don't have, once the material becomes activated, it's, the getting the binding force, the strong force to balance out. And we don't understand the stability between these things. Until you learn to take into consideration the field gradient of the planet, its gravitational field density.
Yes.
So you
Key
can make
right here.
like it may be entirely possible to synthesize element 115 in down in Jupiter, like somehow, like if you're able to lower down into the center of the red eye,
Right, where it's
down
exponentially higher energy density and space time density.
So some of these heavier elements that have these like element 115 would be, they get, it could be done in these gravity wells or gravity foundries. I don't know. I mean, it comes down to like cyclotronic, spin forming elements. But something like element 115, you're going to still need to be within a dense gravity field or something like a larger planet. So instability, nuclear stability in the planetary field gradient is not something that's commonly considered or talked about. And also there's what's the sidereal energy, the galactic core. And this is where we need like Bob Greenyer, and he starts talking about the neutrino flux and all that. But if you're able to like focus neutrinos in a higher density, then you may be able to create stability in the strong force and get through some of these weird moments where the material, floats away. So my impression of like, the Moscovium element 115 is that it was made, it would have to be in one of these gravity foundries. Anyway, fresh thought.
Sorry, I'm just loading up the files you sent there of the arts.
Yeah. Oh, and then within the bismuth, so these like quasi crystals. I'm saying a lot of the things are like, this is material from a spaceship that crashed. So you're seeing nuclear artifacts from the operation of the propulsion field in the material. This is real nerdy stuff. So charge, parity, and time, CPT. And currently in some of the quieter corners of this advanced knowledge, they're looking into topological insulators that prevent charge. This is anyway. It affects yada yada. Go away.
No, continue with this. This is key information.
This is where I'm just starting to access some of my downloaded information. So charge, parity, and time. Charge is also recognized as polarization, like an electron versus a positron. But an electron, you you can have a positive and a negative electric charge, which turns into spin states. Parity, I believe, is whether or not you have a particle and an antiparticle. And then time, that has to do with, time does have a direction, and that's what we normally associate with the electroweak force, and that it is asymmetrical to the with regards to motion. So time seems to have a direction that it's flowing in. From here, it gets into a bunch of like bracket notation, and then these quasi crystals is kind of one way of. I think it's towards the end of the second one. Maybe it's in this one. And they got, those. So with these newer higher level technologies, the scanning electron microscope, the X-ray lithography. With X-rays, you're able to get enough penetration power within the atomic lattice that you can start seeing these crystalline structures, and then they kind of scale out, and you get these regions where these bismuth microcrystals start acting in an organized whole, like what do we call a Bose-Einstein condensate, but it's a quasi-crystal. There is like a crystalline structure within it. So these guys are looking in these little tiny pieces of crashed spaceship material and seeing these funny patterns like sacred geometry. But if you could see, as a material when it's active at the nuclear level, it's not that it's holding a high charge, it's that you've got your vibrations correct and that the nucleus is vibrating, and that's when you start seeing this certain atoms will move through the lattice and then start forming these quasi-crystalline structures at the macroscopic scale.
Bam! That is absolutely huge knowledge you just dropped right there. It's when you have them the right resonant frequency, that nuclear oscillation rate of the elements going in at the same time, that you're able to then merge them in together to form the quasi-crystal, is what you're saying, essentially?
Yeah. But in the vehicles, I mean, we're talking, this is like in a calculus. So with saucer shaped, you're talking about the saucer with a rotating field. So these crystalline structures are showing up as the waveform is sweeping through, a sector on the hull plating. So I don't know. And then the vehicle crashes and the energy goes to ground, and then you get these little these weird crystalline structures showing up. But I mean, Grenier goes into these things and starts looking into these dots and these bumps, and he pulls out all of this field topology it's nuclear going into the right. So see, there's this hexagonal structure. You're like, is it random coincidence or is that a structure?
Absolute structure in them.
Right. So, and these are all, very fine defects, but we're at that level doing materials analysis as a species, as a sentient civilization. Very nerdy stuff over on the other side of the fence. But so he got, I guess it came through Oak Ridge, and then it's been, I don't know, washed, scrubbed. Enough time has gone by. And there's still this like, no, we can't. There's this fear within the military, within the scientific community of some of this knowledge. But what current events are going on around globally? Faster response times. The overview effect. Your vehicle has 6 degrees of freedom. You can just, you have like some sort of hypersonic missile trying to come in, and you can just go, you can either knock it out of the sky or just teleport behind it and then go the other way while it's like screaming.
It's what's needed, because the West has seemed to have fallen behind in
bullshit
hypersonics, which is
that's the open claptrap. I don't know. No, meanwhile, these mystery drones. Some are
Yeah,
some are ours and some are not ours. So
and I say that in like the official level, and it's that then it's when you leapfrog up to like the next or like the full classified higher like hit secret space program or whatever like the technologies are, it's like that's a whole dimension of perplexality and generations above what's like official in like the military terms.
let me help you clear that. I mean, they talk about it in terms of years, generations and years. So like when I was talking with Banduric about propulsion power systems, he's like most of the recovered stuff is no more than 50 years advanced. How do we put that into it's humanity is in a weird time right now. The hastening is upon us. In the last century, we've gone through more technological evolution than we have in the past 19 centuries. It doesn't. So when Banduric is saying 50 years, it could still be like we're centuries away because somebody in the nuclear community doesn't want to make something. Once you start playing around with nuclear, field density stuff, you get illnesses, the gamma ray bursts that liquefy your bones and you're dead within 6 days. Some of this stuff is pretty gnarly, right? I mean, I have no practical way of getting down into the center of the great red eye, and we have problems with going underwater for 2 kilometers, right? And like the pressures there compress the vehicles. So I imagine going down 200 kilometers is something that's 3,000 times larger than Earth, or is it 300?
You need a plasma field to be able to do it, right? And
spherical topology, and then you're playing around with the emptiness within the middle and using the propulsion field to focus that.
And that kind of goes into like egg-shaped craft and the fact that the geometry of an egg, especially when underwater, like the shell is so strong, and that it would make sense that if you get a plasma field into that same shape, that in the vacuum pressure densities that you'd be experiencing in other planets or stars or whatever, that that's potentially what you'd need or could use. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, larger spherical objects create a stronger field. I mean, this is basic astronomy, first principles of astronomy, and everything that we've learned through observational astronomy. We got a new puppy, Freya.
Oh, you got a puppy?
Yeah, Carol got a new puppy last week.
That's amazing. What type of puppy? Can we see the puppy? Carol, bring the puppy.
Maybe. Hold on.
Aidan, bring the puppy. We're getting puppy love. All right. Get in halfway through puppy love intermission. It's puppy time. Almost puppy time.
No, she's afraid.
Oh, okay.
That's
Puppy's no star this time.
Being able to.
Next time.
Yeah, she's a little German Shepherd, but.
Oh, that's awesome. Love German Shepherds.
Well, she's a breath catcher, but she's anyway. Carol's training her. Planet field gradients, engineering. I'll get down to some of the quasi crystal stuff. So circulars. Some of these things. I mean, you're looking at these things at the near 10 nanometers, right? So like, just to put it in the understanding, these things are not visible to the naked eye. You're getting these little. Doctor. All physics are scalable, but you're still, when you're insulating against these things, some of these, where's my position? Zero point energy is not energy. It's something that you have to engineer against, and that is this new growing class of topological insulators. And so these guys are getting fascinated by these quasi-crystalline structures, which are an effect of the topological insulator preserving time. Like the ships conserve time inside, but excrete space while they are making it. They structure, when you're talking about a transmedium vehicle, a saucer can go from the atmosphere into the ocean, and it seems to spin the water around it and put it exactly in, that's a nuclear. It's it's creating a vibration around it that causes the ocean to go, vibrate briefly, near field and far field. These are near field effects and far field effects, but in the near field, it organizes and structures matter around it and spins it around, and then drops it off. Did you see the footage from Burlinson? Come on, Rep Burleson. I'm not saying his name right. Eric Burlinson.
I know what you're talking about. I'm not sure if I saw it.
It was at the last UAP congressional hearing, and
no, the Hellfire one. Yes, yeah, absolutely.
And it spins it around, and then the propulsion field, it looks all blobby, and then it comes back into a stable topology. But it picked up the Hellfire and spun it around it, and then simultaneously deployed those three small spheres.
Yeah.
And it didn't explode. Everybody it was fun to watch the news segment.
One key part was the Hellfire missile was the switchback style. That's like only kinetic. It didn't have a warhead on it. But regardless, it's the fact that it didn't go, it just went straight through it, split it into a few pieces, and then it came back, right? Like that's a type of plasma essentially. And how it spun the missile as it went through.
Yeah, no, the missile was spun around the platform, and then simultaneously it deployed 3 countermeasures. So this is entirely boring, but
hold on one moment. I have to grab just to show. This is probably going to get me in trouble, but whatever. These specific crystals here, and some that I've grown, just for comparison.
Let's see. I'm gonna go look through who we got. Coin actually marked. This is Kristen person. Yeah. Anyway, quantum dot, Bindi dot on my forehead face. All right, marks of enlightenment. Oh, game. Anyway, words matter. What type of words are we using, Bernie? Where'd you go? Oh, we're on dead air.
All right, I'm back. Okay, so why I say this might get me in trouble. I've been having some private conversations for the last few weeks, showing off some of my nanomaterials that are definitely metamaterials to different people in different agencies, and have been getting warned, but hey, whatever is what it is. And the aerogels that I make, when the aerogel dries, well, it produces exactly what you're just looking at.
Some
Come
funny
on.
crystals.
Okay. There we go. Low, very, very angel nano hair crystal out of zinc and silver is what this is. And you can
Interesting.
see that
Very
they are
fibrous.
very, very fibrous to the point of being maybe what we were looking at. Oops, come on. We'll focus.
I see the sparkles of crystals. So, ouch, fiberglass.
Yeah, like it's they're so thin. They are like a fraction of a human hair thin.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what forms from the silver and aluminum and zinc aerogel that I had made that I let dry out, and it turned into that stuff, which is potentially this stuff, or very similar.
Chemistry
Very, very
book.
similar.
Crystalline structures, right? Polymers, isomers, and then you get into like crystalline structures again. Goes into like the valence, the bandwidth of the valence, how big
Yep.
crystalline structures are.
I know exactly.
This is where everybody
what you're
boils
thinking
it down to like the law of 5, 72 degrees.
Well, and specifically that some of those need to be exactly 1 atom thick, and that is also what goldine is. Goldine just being discovered a couple weeks ago, even though I've been making it for 10 years, and it is graphene but made from gold. And so here you can see it is the gold color, right? It's gold when the light is directly on it. You're getting the gold color.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you put the light from behind, you're getting purple. So it is that 1 atom thick that allows or changes the color of light through, and processes of making these meta materials that are in the single atom structures and lattices that give these special properties.
Yeah, there's a lot of semiconductor physics. It's all thin film physics, is what they call. A lot of physics are surface effect or a skin effect versus a body effect, where like proton migration, hydrogen embrittlement is a body effect. Nuclear decay processes are a body effect. But color, seeing things in color, that's a skin effect. Electricity moving across a conductor is a skin effect. I don't know. I don't want to go into nerdy condensed physics, but condensed matter. But yeah, I don't know. Where are we going with this, Bernie? You got the or teleportation. It's a nuclear physics, right? These vehicles are structuring, they're vibrating in the propulsion field. They're able to structure the atmosphere. That's why the water, atmospheric water, the H2O bonds.
It's all bonding. That's exactly what it is, and it's through the atomic isolation. Atomic vibration, the oscillation. Sorry, the atomic oscillation of matter, and which is the oscillation rates of between the valence shells or valence layers of atoms, and that it's in fact standing waves or nested fields of standing waves are what make up actual atoms and matter, and
Right.
that is the key to it and the key to understanding, and it explains the double slit experiment and it explains so much more. And that's a whole topic for a whole other day. Well, a whole series on that alone. But that's what it gets down to. And that it's that these craft, the different I guess aliens and interdimensional, as well as breakaway human technologies, there's all of the above, and that they all have engineered and used different versions and manipulations of these principles, and that no one understands it better than our good friend Aidan Shaffer here. And you've been experiencing more and more of it.
Yeah, like I mean, how does teleportation work? How did the little grays get from their saucers down into the house and are able to walk through walls and stuff? Like, that's what they're. That's the whole problem with like Mark and the Alzaphon experiment, like the dynamic nuclear orientation.
Can you get into this a little bit, please? Because it's so relevant to my own work.
I guess so. I mean, it's active nuclear moments. I guess once you master like radioactivity and learn how to stabilize things, that's when fundamentally we're talking about quantum teleportation, right? Quantum tunneling. So I'm trying to formulate a semester of physics in my mind right now, but so quantum tunneling is all about wavelength and band gaps. Like if your little gray android is a 1.5 meter wavelength. I don't know. We get into like entanglement and such. This is all. I haven't come through with a coherent.
Fair enough. I get what you're saying.
More. If you get a textbook on quantum tunneling.
Rewind a little bit into like the Alzaphon experiment and what's the issues they're having with the dynamic nuclear spin orientation.
Right. Dynamic nuclear orientation is also its polarization. Which way is the field going to form? And it comes back again to the fact that everything is in motion. Time has a direction that is moving. So that causes this self-rounding polarization of a homogeneous field in general, but not always. So when you're trying to activate the nuclear forces, you're actually starting to play around with the quarks and their access to the 3 generations of matter. But the action of organizing your structure towards the nucleus, you're at a power system level, you want a single source square wave oscillation, which, not everything, this is all heavy into everything has a vibration, but how many, like if you get a alloy of bismuth and magnesium, you have 2 different nuclei. Those are 2 different vibrations, right? Your power sources have to be a single source oscillator in order to do some of these teleportation effects. But I mean, an android is not a homogeneous nuclear object. It's a composite of different elements. So there's some complex computing that's going on when they're making these things teleport, walk through walls and whatnot. But the ships, I don't know. This is coming back around to the CPT violations and topological insulators. This is I'm thinking in pictures internally, but my words are not.
All good, my friend, and I appreciate it because it's extremely complex, and I also have the parallel understanding experience of like when you're trying to source, download like information, and then actually turn it into vocal words and communicate coherently. It's it takes process sometimes, and it's like
Yeah, I know if
very
Perone
complex.
or Reese, if we could get them talking, they can. Jeremy has done a lot of the reading and research, but for most people, it's like hearing, "Oh yeah, teleportation is real." It's like, no, it's just bullshit. That's Star Trek lingo. But it goes back to like I don't want to start quoting a quantum textbook on tunneling and how your objects are able to move through physical matter if the wavelength that they're vibrating at is greater than the thickness of the material. It gets into RF engineering. People that have done a lot of RF engineering get quantum tunneling a lot easier. Words are awkward. Yeah, a lot of this is musty textbook stuff. That's you get into the directed energy community here. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's also nearly midnight. I've been up for.
Sure, brother. So we will wrap this up and do her again soon and earlier next time. As my apologies as being so late as always, but it was epic, and appreciate yourself, Aidan. Appreciate Carol, and it's epic and awesome that you guys are not just experiencing continuously still, but actually recording and documenting the video footage of these platforms, of these orbs, some drones, some motherships, and all of it, and how it all ties in, and that there's the progression of finally, like you're saying on X, of actual real experiencers creating communities, being able to share the mutual experiences, and finding other real experiencers out there, and that I myself am forever grateful and forever looking forward to the next year, and making it every year to come back out there and experience more with you guys, because it is real, and it's accelerating. Like you said, the quickening, or the use a different word. I used quickening, but it's coming down.
The quickening.
The singularity is coming soon, and it's all ties in.
What's going to happen in 2027? It's that the UFO community, we're all looking forward with horror. I don't know horror, but
anxiety.
Yeah, Taiwan. China's going to pounce on Taiwan. The United States has to respond. I was projecting that for this year, but now they're like, no, we're going to give
Let's
China
project it for no years. Let's project instead. There'll be no nuclear war. There'll be no war. We're going to find peace, and we're going to make. Once humanity makes peace, then we can have like peace with ETs, right? Because I feel that's a major thing. Is why we don't see.
It's literally not for the population at large to try to interact and try to master the overview effect. I mean, there is how the NHI, the ETs think, and interacting with them. Remember, it was the clarity of the dream that preceded the
exactly. So this is a perfect area to end off on, is that it's mastering your own self, your own consciousness in your own dream world, and that anybody and everyone can access these entities in the dream world. You just have to be at peace with yourself, with your spirit, your consciousness, and then put the energy into reach out to them to project, right?
Yeah, and make sure you're well grounded in love and compassion. Take care of yourself. Be nice to yourself. Yeah. Yes. Thanks for Rhonda Butterflies, and I'm going back through and reviewing some stuff. So thanks to the people out there. I don't know any about your regulars, but I'm glad that you're staying consistent.
Absolutely. Well, much love, and until we see you again and do again, love y'all.
All right, signing off.
You crazy mother. Yeah. It's just fun.